Prince Harry's army instructor says story in spare book is dramatised for effect. Ex-Sergeant Major Michael Booley insists every detail of training flights is discussed beforehand, adding he is in shock after learning about Prince Harry's dramatic account in his memoir Spare. Prince Harry's account of a suicide training flight has been written for dramatic effect, says the man who was sitting alongside him. The royal claims in his autobiography that an army instructor deliberately stalled their Slingsby T-67 Firefly propeller plane without warning. But ex-Sergeant Major Michael Booley insists every detail of training flights is discussed beforehand. And he tells the Sunday Mirror, "I am staggered by this. In shock even." His clear version of the incident suggests Harry has come up with yet another porker, after a string of claims in his book were proven to be inaccurate. The prince wrote in his controversial bestseller, "On one of our first flights together, with no warning, Booley threw the aircraft into a stall. I felt the left wing dip, a sickening feeling of disorder, of entropy, and then, after several seconds that felt like decades, he recovered the aircraft and leveled the wings. I stared at him. What in the absolute? Was this an aborted suicide attempt? No," he said gently. "This was the next stage in my training." But Michael E., who ranks father of two Harry in his top 5 students, dismisses the prince's tale, saying, "Whilst the book compliments me, the recollection of the sorties and lessons is inaccurate, I'm afraid. It's important to highlight that nothing in the cockpit comes as a surprise. Every sortie is thoroughly briefed beforehand, every single aspect. The sortie is flown exactly as per that brief. The only time there are surprises is later in the syllabus, not as stated in the book, when emergencies are introduced. Engine failures are practiced before the first solo obviously, in case the student suffers one." Michael, 57, served in the military for 33 years and taught the Duke of Sussex to pilot the Firefly in 2009. Harry, who flew Apache attack helicopters in Afghanistan, was presented with his wings a year later by his father King Charles, Colonel-in-Chief of the Army Air Corps. While Michael maintains the utmost respect and admiration for Harry, he questions parts of Spare, which was ghostwritten by leading author John Joseph Moeringer. Michael says he never called the Royal Lieutenant Wales, as the book claims. He adds, "I think the reference to the flying sorties has been dramatised. I think it's a result of the ghostwriting. I never called him Lieutenant Wales, he was an officer, and I called him Sir." Michael still holds Harry, 38, in extremely high regard and recalls the time they shared a roast lamb for a Sunday lunch. They were also photographed together in 2009 shortly after Harry graduated from the Defence Elementary Flying Training School. Michael adds, "He was an exceptional student, very talented indeed. He is a friend and a man I respect immensely who would always have my ear." Michael is not the only former comrade to question Harry's version of events. A former Apache instructor told us, "All training sorties are briefed to the nth degree so the student is fully aware of what the plan is. In the air is not the time to try and brief somebody on what the plan is. The briefing will take place on the ground in front of a blackboard. I can only assume the book was written like this for dramatic effect because it's wrong and no instructor would behave like this." In Spare, Harry reveals he killed 25 Taliban during 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan.